Welcome to Deep Sleep Stories, where imagination floats you softly into dreamland. Breathe, rest, and sleep.
Welcome to Deep Sleep Stories, where gentle words and quiet moments guide you into a realm of rest and tranquility. You found a soft place to land tonight, a space where the cares of the day can gently slip away. In this comforting pause before sleep, allow the hush of a Scandinavian fjord in the rain to beckon you, promising the scent of crisp air, the warmth of a cozy sanctuary, and the soothing lull of water lapping against ancient shores. Take a slow, full breath now, letting your shoulders soften as you exhale. Notice the way your body begins to release tension, piece by piece, making room for a deep and welcoming calm. Here, amid the hush of twilight, the rustle of your thoughts grows ever fainter. Soon you'll drift into the comforting layers of a dream, cradled by images of a rainy sunset over tranquil waters. Let this be your invitation to linger in serenity. Breathe in, feeling the coolness of the air fill your lungs. Breathe out, sensing the day's concerns dissolve, leaving you free to settle into a more peaceful state. You might notice a gentle tingling in your fingers or toes, or the way your eyelids grow heavy, as if ready to close at any moment. This is your time to unwind, your space to let go. No urgency follows you here, only the patient rhythm of breath and the soft hush of a gentle story unfolding. As you continue to breathe, you become aware that your mind's pace is slowing, like a quiet walk through a hidden forest, under a sky spattered with the promise of rainfall. Here, the scene is set. A rainy Scandinavian fjord, with the sun drifting low on the horizon. Let the soothing glow of this image carry you into a deeper sense of rest. Feel free to let your thoughts settle wherever they are. Even now, a soft calm drapes itself around your shoulders, preparing you for the dreams that await. With each breath, imagine that you're tuning into something ancient and kind, a timeless melody whispered by wind and wave. Let that notion guide you onward, at ease, into the story. The details swirl gently around you, carrying you closer to the drifting waters, the mist-kissed mountains, and the gentle hush of twilight settling in. You're perfectly safe here. This is your moment of repose and reconnection, a chance to immerse yourself in a restful scene that expects nothing more than your quiet presence. Feel the gentle pull of comfort and let your breath guide you deeper and deeper still. In the quiet hush of a Scandinavian fjord, there was once a small village perched along the water's edge. Its homes with steep roofs and soft, warm lights clustered together as if seeking comfort from the wind and rain. Tonight, a gentle drizzle fell from the clouded sky, each droplet cascading down the rugged cliffs that framed the water. The air was crisp, carrying a subtle scent of pine and damp earth, a fragrance that felt both fresh and familiar. Beyond the silhouettes of tall evergreens, The fjord stretched out in serene silence, its surface rippled by the constant patter of rain. Down by the shoreline, there stood a humble wooden dock, each plank darkened and slick from the day's persistent moisture. A lone figure in a soft woolen sweater stepped out onto this dock, taking deliberate steps, unhurried as if each moment was meant to be savored. In the shy glow of the diminishing daylight, the figure paused, looking out across the fjord. The water, tinted by the deeper colors of a waning sun, glistened with reflections that danced along gentle waves. Though small droplets still fell, they were more like a lullaby than a storm, an echo of natural harmony rather than any sense of threat. Behind the figure, mountains rose in quiet grandeur. Their peaks were partially veiled in wisps of low-hanging clouds that drifted softly across the rocky slopes. Verdant moss clung to boulders and patches of grass, hinting at the hardy life that thrived in these cooler climates. When a stray breeze blew through, it carried a murmur of hidden streams trickling down in the distance, and perhaps the faint call of some night bird preparing for the hush of evening. Gradually, the figure breathed in that crisp air, feeling it swirl in the lungs, bringing a sense of calm and freshness. Further along the water's edge, small wooden cottages nestled close, their windows glowing with the golden hue of lamps lit against the gathering dusk. Softly drifting smoke rose from chimneys, blending into the gentle swirl of low-hanging clouds. Inside these cottages, people prepared for a calm evening, stoking fires, steeping herbal teas, and lighting candles. A hush of collective stillness prevailed, as though the entire village was settling into a shared lullaby, a nightly ritual of quiet contentment. Out on the fjord, a tiny rowboat bobbed lazily upon the surface. Its sides were weathered from years of devoted use, the painted edges chipped and faded by countless excursions into the placid waters. A small lantern at the boat's bow cast a mellow light, illuminating the gentle dance of raindrops upon the wood. There was no hurry aboard this boat. Its occupant let the oars rest, content to float for a while, listening to the soft drizzle upon the water. In this timeless realm, the slow rocking of the boat offered a soothing rhythm, like a cradle lulling someone into a deep and peaceful slumber. At the center of the scene, the sunset unfurled in soft shades. Even beneath a canopy of clouds, the sky glowed with subtle traces of rose and gold, blending seamlessly into the subdued gray of the evening clouds. It was not a dramatic show of vibrant colors, but a gentle gradation, as though nature itself was readying for rest. The rain, in its patient descent, gently wove itself into this tapestry of light and quiet. Along the fjord's surface, ripples formed glowing ribbons of color, reflected from the shy sunset. Each movement of the water seemed to echo a reassuring whisper, a beckoning lull that promised rest. Near the shoreline, a cozy cottage stood with an open door, a gentle lamp visible from the outside. Inside, an old kettle began to sing, its soft whistle weaving with the natural melody of rain and wind. An elderly man, wise from years spent gazing across these waters, poured steaming water into 2 earthen cups, careful not to spill a single drop. He had prepared a simple tisane, made from local herbs and dried petals collected during the milder season. The warm aroma filled the cottage, mingling with the faint scent of the crackling fireplace. His companion, wrapped in a thick blanket, sat in a rocking chair by the window, watching the drizzle taper into a delicate mist. The two shared a companionable silence, bonded by the hush of the evening and the knowledge that this space, in all its humble simplicity, was a refuge from every storm. Outside, the figure on the dock gently raised a hood, letting the soft wool shield them from the drizzle. Gazing across the water, they thought of the generations who had lived in harmony with this fjord. Perhaps, long ago, boat builders and fishermen, or quiet dreamers and mindful observers, had stood at this exact spot, pondering the mysteries tucked away in the folds of the mountains. The sense of time here felt expansive, as though past, present, and future were all gently woven together by the steady presence of nature. Rain, after all, had traced these ridges since time immemorial, shaping each stone, nurturing each plant, and soothing every weary soul who arrived. Beyond the fjord, forests wrapped around the slopes, each tree adorned with a lustrous shimmer, as though nature had taken the time to decorate every leaf and needle with its own glistening jewel. The air smelled of cedar and wet rock, rich and life-affirming. Small creatures, awakened by the twilight hour, could be heard rustling in the undergrowth, though they remained hidden behind a curtain of leaves. Occasionally, a single droplet would glide from a mossy branch, falling into a shallow puddle with a delicate plink. This subtle music interwove with the hush of raindrops, crafting a lullaby for all who ventured near. As the drizzle lightened, the figure on the dock took slow steps toward a narrow footpath leading up the slope. The path was lined with smooth stones and wandering roots, each step gently guiding them away from the water's edge. The hush of the cottage lights receded behind them, replaced by the overarching presence of tall pines that stood like sentinels in the waning daylight. Higher up, the path curved around a bend, offering a sweeping view of the fjord. It was here that the gentle interplay of ocean tides met the ancient rock, carving hidden caverns and silent inlets over the centuries. Shadows deepened in the folds of the cliff, but the last glimmer of sunset revealed glimpses of silver streaks across the water. Far below, the boat still drifted, its occupant lulled by the rocking motion, immersed in thoughts as tranquil as the setting itself. The patter of rain against the hull had grown quiet, tapering to a few stray droplets. Only the soft hush of water and the distant cry of a seabird accompanied the boat's occupant. Every so often, an idle dip of the oar rippled through the surface, creating circles of light that danced in the reflection of the boat's lantern. The occupant closed their eyes, inhaling deeply, finding a gentle peace in the knowledge that the day was folding into a twilight cocoon, and they could float here, safe and sheltered, as the night drifted in. Further up the slope, the figure reached a small clearing, crowned by a solitary pine that stood like a watchtower. Beneath that tree's gently swaying branches, a smooth boulder offered the perfect seat for anyone who wished to watch the interplay of clouds and color above the fjord. Droplets trickled from each needle, but they fell softly enough to lend the space a natural percussion. The figure settled onto the rock, gathering warm fabric around them, content to watch the last rays slip below the horizon. The hush of evening had a tangible weight here, pressing gently on the senses, encouraging them to rest. Gazing out, the scene seemed suspended in time. Even the gulls that soared near the water's surface did so in near silence, their wings catching the dimming glow of dusk. Every element of the landscape, rock, water, and vegetation, seemed to have agreed to slow its pace in respect for the coming night. There was no rush, no bustling traffic, no hurried footsteps. The entire fjord felt like a deep breath, held just long enough for every visitor to find calm and reassurance. Mossy stones, softly lit windows, and the gentle curve of the mountain slopes all coexisted in perfect stillness. In a snug nook near the base of a cliff, a family of otters ventured out to play. They slipped into the shallow waters, unaffected by the subtle drizzle, chasing one another with a carefree joy that seemed to mirror nature's inherent harmony. Though the figure on the rock was high enough not to hear their merry splashes, the sight was a comforting reminder of life's simplicity and resilience. Even the littlest creatures found ways to rejoice in the gentle hush of twilight. The otter's sleek forms appeared and vanished among the ripples, a playful dance upon the quiet surface of the fjord. Below the pine, the breeze shifted, carrying the scent of salt and algae from a hidden cove. This blend mingled with the aroma of wet soil, creating a soothing perfume unique to this rugged coastal land. In the gathering twilight, the figure felt each inhalation soothe the mind, drawing the body into alignment with the slow, rhythmic pace of nature. In the hush, thoughts settled like soft silt at the bottom of a clear pond, calm and undisturbed. The distant lamp of the cottage down by the shore glowed like a tiny ember in the dusk, a beacon of warmth and refuge. Across the fjord, on the far side of the darkening water, another small community of homes could be glimpsed, each one with a faint light at its center. Perhaps inside these dwellings, children were being tucked into bed with tender lullabies, while elders reminisced by fire-lit corners. One could imagine the gentle hush of a mother's voice, the soft crackle of kindling in a hearth, the quiet turning of pages in a well-loved book. All across these fjord-side settlements, peace settled in for the evening, offering comfort to every soul nestled in the shadows of the mountains. As night approached, the rainfall tapered off completely, leaving only a gentle mist drifting across the water. The sky, though mostly clad in cloud, revealed faint glimmers of stars in some patches, as if the universe offered a subtle nod to those who might gaze upward. A low moon began to rise, veiled by the shifting clouds, casting just enough light to create faint silver lines along the edges of the fjord. The figure on the rock watched patiently, letting the moment unfold in its own time, without expectation or haste. If the moon wished to remain hidden, that was perfectly acceptable. The quiet hush of the night was beauty enough. In a nearby grove, a cluster of small birch trees stood, their white bark gleaming softly even in the muted light. Their delicate leaves trembled in the hush of evening air, sending droplets of water cascading down to the forest floor. Beneath those leaves, soft patches of moss cushioned the earth, capturing the faint glow of the moon when it peeked through. The hush of the forest was a gentle lull, and if one listened closely, tiny nocturnal insects and creatures were beginning to stir, performing their nightly wanderings under the protective shroud of darkness. At the rock's edge, the figure felt an irresistible pull to return to the shoreline, as though the rhythm of the tides called them back. Rising slowly, they descended the path, each step measured and deliberate, mindful of the moss and stones still wet from the drizzle. Halfway down, the wind shifted once more, brushing a cool caress against the figure's cheeks. It whispered through the branches, filling the air with a gentle rustling that made the entire path feel alive with quiet conversation. Traces of salt from the fjord mingled in this breeze, and the figure closed their eyes momentarily, inhaling the fresh promise of another peaceful hour. Upon returning to the wooden dock, they found the boards faintly glimmering under the newly risen moon, which had gently emerged from behind a thinning veil of clouds. The water below was calm and glassy, mirroring the sky's gentle glow. The rowboat bobbed slightly in the near distance, its lantern now extinguished, its occupant lulled by the stillness of the night. The figure lingered at the dock's edge, resting a hand on the weathered railing. In the subtle hush, they could sense the entire fjord breathing as one, as though the mountains, forests, and waters had settled into a shared, harmonious slumber. Somewhere far off, a waterfall tumbled down the rocky terrain, its voice muted by the distance. The soft, continuous roar merged seamlessly with the faint echo of waves kissing the shore, the whisper of wind through treetops, and the occasional drop of water sliding from a leaf. The tapestry of these sounds formed a lullaby that was at once vast and intimate, timeless and immediate. The figure closed their eyes and allowed the night to cradle them, feeling any lingering thoughts drift away like a gentle ripple that expands and disappears. Not far from the dock, a footbridge spanned a small inlet, leading to a winding path dotted with ferns. The figure wandered onto this bridge, gazing down at the faint silhouette of fish darting beneath. Even in the darkness, life continued in quiet rhythms, each creature instinctively guided by the gentle pulse of nature. Overhead, the clouds shifted again, revealing a brighter patch of moonlight that reflected upon the water in silver arcs. The reflection quivered with each ripple, creating a mesmerizing pattern that invited calm introspection. Stepping off the bridge, the figure noticed a secluded bench beneath a cove of entwined branches. A small lantern hung from a shepherd's hook nearby, providing a modest, flickering glow. The figure settled onto the bench, hearing only the faint creak of wood accepting their weight. Here, within a cocoon of shadow and starlight, the figure gazed across the fjord. The mountains stood in silent profile, stoic and watchful. Their presence was reassuring, a reminder of the steadfast guardianship they offered to the waters below. Time felt soft in this place, as though measured only by the gentle passing of breeze and the slow arc of the moon. The hush encouraged reflection, or perhaps even a gentle surrender to drowsiness. In the distance, a soft glow from a cottage window hinted that someone might still be awake, perhaps reading a final page of a favorite tale, or tidying up after the day's quiet routine. Yet even that glow would soon be extinguished, joining the rest of the village in restful sleep. Eventually, the figure rose, drawn again by the subtle lure of the water's edge. In a gentle movement, they knelt at the shore, cupping their hand and letting the cool water wash over their fingers. The water was crisp, like freshly melted snow, yet not biting. Its soft caress carried a promise of renewal, like a small ceremony of connection with nature's ever-flowing cycle. Droplets slid between the figure's fingertips, shimmering momentarily in the moonlight, before descending back to join the vast expanse of the fjord. With a calm and measured stride, the figure returned to the dock, mind and heart open to the music of the night. The old boards creaked a greeting, as though acknowledging another quiet soul. The figure paused near a simple wooden post, letting the hush drift deeper into the spirit. Down the line of the shore, the faint silhouettes of cottages and cabins shimmered with occasional lantern light, reminding anyone who looked that, though the mountains were wild and ancient, comfort and warmth awaited wherever a door could be found. A gentle wind rose, stirring the surface of the water into a soft, ever-shifting tapestry of moonlit ripples. Overhead, a few stars grew brave enough to pierce the cloud cover, winking down at the water below. This interplay of celestial light and earthly reflection formed a web of luminescence that inspired a profound sense of gratitude for the simple, gentle wonders of nightfall. Through the hush, the echo of the day's last hum receded further, and a deeper silence took hold, one filled with the hush of understanding rather than emptiness. In this deepening tranquility, the occupant of the rowboat stirred, lifting the oars with unhurried grace and guiding the little vessel toward the dock. Each stroke was slow and measured, sending small circles outward into the moonlit surface. The figure on the dock watched quietly as the boat approached, and when it arrived, they exchanged a soft smile, as if to say that words were unnecessary here. In this place, the hush was enough of a conversation, a gentle communion of souls bound by the fjord's calming spirit. The occupant of the boat stepped onto the dock with practiced ease, securing the vessel with a simple rope. The two figures nodded gently, a sign of mutual respect for the stillness that enveloped them. Together, they stood for a moment, looking out over the water, sharing in the hush that asked for no explanation, no justification. Eventually, the occupant of the boat made their way toward the warm glow of a nearby cottage, while the figure from the rock lingered just a while longer, savoring the last reflection of moonlight dancing on the water. When the figure finally turned, their mind was filled with a gentle sense of fulfillment. Walking along the shore, they followed a narrow footpath back to a solitary cabin nestled behind a cluster of pines. This cabin was spare but welcoming, its windows offering a soft glow. Inside, coals still smoldered in a modest stone hearth, providing subtle warmth that reached into the corners of the snug room. A table with a single candle stood against one wall, next to a worn armchair draped with a knitted blanket. The figure pushed the door open gently, stepping into a space that felt like a personal haven. Closing the door behind them, the figure breathed in the gentle aura of the cabin. It carried the faint aroma of damp wood, wool, and the traces of a recent meal. The figure lit the candle, letting its flame dance softly in the still air. Outside, the soft hush of the fjord continued, even though the closed door now muted its voice. Within this gentle refuge, the figure prepared a small cup of herbal tea, akin to what might have been enjoyed in the neighboring cottages. The fragrant steam rose, carrying notes of chamomile and mint, mingled with a subtle hint of local herbs. Removing the damp outer layers, the figure slipped into more comfortable attire, then settled into the armchair with the warm cup in hand. The cabin's interior exuded a cozy calm, inviting any lingering tension to dissipate. A gentle light flickered on the wooden walls, creating dancing shadows that looked like waves lapping at a shore. As the figure sipped the tea, they reflected on the comforting presence of the fjord, the timeless interplay of rain, wind, and moonlit sky. This reflection was not urgent or analytical. Instead, it was a soft meandering through the experience, a lullaby of memory, preparing the mind to ease into the hush of sleep. Outside, the rain had fully ceased. Only a gentle mist remained, adorning the needle-laden branches and creeping across the pathways like a silver veil. If one pressed an ear to the cabin's wall, the faint call of a distant owl might be heard, or the whisper of a slight breeze gently moving through the undergrowth. Every sound served as a quiet reassurance that the night was alive and well, brimming with its own gentle gifts. Finishing the last sip of tea, the figure placed the cup aside. The candle's glow flickered against the shadows, and the figure rose to blow it out, leaving just the subdued illumination from the hearth's glowing embers. The armchair creaked softly as the figure returned to it, pulling the knitted blanket around their shoulders. As the body settled, the eyes grew heavy, lulled by the hush of the night, and the comforting aura within. In this cradle of warmth, the figure allowed each breath to deepen, sinking into the gentle arms of rest. Somewhere beyond the thick cabin walls, the fjord lapped quietly against ancient rock, content in its nightly vigil. The mountains, tall and steadfast, watched over the water, their silent presence a promise of security. The entire expanse of nature, from the highest peak to the tiniest shoreline stone, held its breath in a peaceful hush, as though recognizing the sacredness of this resting hour. Clouds drifted across the moon, playing their hidden melodies in the hush of the dark. And so, in this timeless interlude, the figure sank further into the realm of dreams, knowing they were part of a grand, gentle tapestry. Now the night grows deeper and calmer. The world outside the cabin door has settled under the tender watch of the moon, and the soft hush carries a promise of renewal. Breaths become slower. Muscles relax one by one, letting go of any tension that once lingered. Each soft exhalation sends ripples of serenity through the body, guiding the mind to a place of complete peace. No rush remains, no urgent call from the day. Only the soothing lull of the fjord, the protective embrace of the mountains, and the tender hush of rain-soaked forests. Allow the last threads of awareness to drift away, woven into the tapestry of the night's calm. Sleep beckons with a gentle hand, leading the weary soul to a realm of pure rest. Sink deeper into warmth, deeper into stillness. Thoughts fade like echoes carried off by a gentle breeze. In this final interval before rest, the hush envelops you, and the lullaby of the fjord resonates through every quiet breath. There is nothing more to do. Every part of the body finds solace in this peaceful moment. Feel the rhythm of your heartbeat slow, matching the gentle pulse of the water outside. Imagine the clouds gently parting, offering glimpses of a star-filled sky. Or let them remain, if that soothes the senses more. For in dreams, the skies shift in harmony with each longing. The hush grows more profound, beckoning you to follow its path beyond waking. Let the weight of the day roll off your shoulders, dissolving into the dark. Here all is well. Here all is at peace. Good night, dear traveler. May the rainy Scandinavian fjord cradle your dreams, its soft waters whispering lullabies across the moonlit ripples. May the crisp air and gentle glow of twilight guide you to the sweetest of slumbers. Rest now and sleep well.